10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Inexorable force in the cosmos, where time and space converge, where the here and now may be forever. An unavoidable whole, moving through space, swallowing everything in its path. Now, man is about to enter the black hole. A journey that begins where everything ends.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good golly, Miss Molly. Welcome to the latest edition of Science Fiction Classics here on That 70s Rock Fan, where we talk about the great science fiction movies of the past. I am your host, That 70s Rock Fan, and today we are going to take a deep look. We're going to stare deeply into the black hole. We're not talking about my finances, although that could be, although that would be equally appropriate. So, no, we mean Walt Disney's 1979 space epic, which has had really polarized reviews at the time and wasn't concluded to be a major success, but it featured some stunning visuals, great soundtrack, and has gained a loyal following over the years and caused many reappraisals to be done. So grab your popcorn and enjoy the show. Thank you all for being here. We're on YouTube. We're on Rumble. If it's working, I need to check. If that thing's working. Because this, the technology. Oh no, it is working. Well, there you go. So we're over on Rumble too, probably on Twitter somewhere. And welcome, enjoy, everybody. Leave a like and all that good stuff, that good YouTube stuff that they tell you to say, and I forget every time because I am old. Welcome to my dear friend Pope Metallicus the First. How are you, buddy?
Doing good, man. Happy to be talking about this one. It's kind of one of those movies from the late 70s. It goes under the radar a little bit, but I always loved this movie as a kid and then even now.
Yeah, now I saw it back in the day because I was no youngster. Well, I think I was a 79, so I was about 16. I saw it in the cinema and it was a great experience, albeit at the time I thought it was a little on the slow side, but I've come to very much value it over the years for a variety of reasons that we will get into. Must also welcome, of course, our great friend, hot off his show, Mr. JoesAtmosfere. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, brother. Doing great. I'm fixing to go
to
grab my dinner here in a second, but I wanted to get in here.
All right.
Black Hole's one of my favorite movies. It's
indeed.
Awesome.
Have you stared into the black hole? Have you felt the pool?
My head in shame. I have.
Have you felt the pull of the gravity?
Gravitation
drawing you towards the bottom of the black hole.
Yeah.
Yes. But anyway, good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you.
Yeah, welcome everyone that's hanging about in the chats already. I'm sure a few more will drop in as we go, and we'll say hello to all of those in time. But welcome, Tim, the Lizzo story. Yes.
Oh, Tim couldn't show up for my show, but he's here. Oh, I see how it is.
Well,
Tim.
he's the excitement of waiting for this show is enough.
That's it. Exactly.
The wonderful Davina Duckworth. Hail to you. Good to see you. And Darren M. Hail to you as well, Darren. Good to see you. And our great friend from Texas. Well, he's not really. He lives in Oregon, I think, or somewhere up in the Northeast. Salt. I met him in Texas, so that's what counts. Yeah. Saw Salty Traveling Sea. Good to see you, my friend. Saw that movie in the theater with my little brother, and got the storybook and vinyl album. Well, I
Really?
got the vinyl album recently, about 7 months ago. I actually got a
kidding.
copy for $5 in a used vinyl store. So I finally got around to getting a copy on physical media, The Black Hole. And the soundtrack is one of the great things about this movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exceptionally good John Barry score. So we'll get into that for sure. Excuse me. So welcome, Salty. Welcome, Adrian James. How you doing? And anyone else we may have missed. As I say, we'll get you guys on the way, and you can let us know what you think about the film, the movie, and various things that we talk about. As you know, the format of these, we talk a little bit about the general stuff about the movie, and then we go into who made it and the actors, and then we do the movie stills, and we let those play and chat about that as the action goes on. So that's the general thrust of it. So let's let me share share a screen with you. There we go. So let's talk about the Black Hole. There we go. So some of the stats. Well, of course, this was the first ever Walt Disney PG movie. Up until then, they'd all been whatever it was. In Britain, it was U for Universal. Not sure what it was over here. Whatever's less than PG.
Yeah, I screwed up on my show when I was pushing this, and I said PG-13. It was PG.
No, just a PG. I'm not sure it would even stretch ever to a PG-13.
Mm-hmm. But to this point, it had all been general admission.
Admission.
G-rated stuff they'd put out. This was the first one that was PG. Yep.
And I think when they did it, we're going to talk a little bit about their history of science fiction movies, which is pretty short up to that point, Disney. But it was their first foray into big budget science fiction, that's for sure. Explored a lot of darker, more mature themes, had some philosophical leanings in it, musings on life, death, and the unknown, and released in December 1979. So virtually the last, not the last, I think there were a few others, but almost the last movie of the 70s, probably the last Disney movie of the 70s, I would say. And budget, well, from what they say, budget was around about 20 million US, which is about 85 million adjusted for today. Domestic gross, because international box office is not available for a lot of those older movies, although I do recall it was, certainly I saw it in the UK and it was in lots of cinemas. 36 million domestic, which is adjusted 154 million today. So expensive for Disney. Not necessarily the hugest of hits, but I suspect it's made its money back and more over the years in various ways. Even in that year, I think it was not anywhere near the top 20 grossing movies, so it wasn't the hit they were anticipating, I suspect. Obviously, some great artwork made over the years for the great poster work. This is my favorite, the original quad poster, which I think... I don't know who did that art, but I do love that. So
it's badass, yeah.
Badass
Great
art,
poster.
yeah. Mm-hmm. I do like the Japanese ones. They're always great.
Oh, well, they put it over the top, don't they?
Yeah, I do like that, showing the Cygnus and then having the crew and the cast, up there.
Although I do have to say, with the Japanese kanji there, it almost looks like an old school anime.
It does. So the movie had been in the works since about 1974, so actually predated things like Star Wars. And the first iteration of it was written as a disaster movie, and I actually quite like when you read about the story of it. So it was inspired more by the Poseidon Adventure.
Right.
Ironically, two cast members it shares with that. Towering Inferno and movies like that, because disaster movies were big. In fact, we did that stream on the Towering Inferno here. We must get round to doing Earthquake, I think, one of these days.
Yeah, there's some great, you want to see John back on this show, get some more disaster movies in there. He'd be on here in 2 seconds.
So we must get around to doing that. And it was conceived then as a disaster theme with it's called Space Station 1 at that time. So I guess trying to get free of the destructive force of this massive black hole. But over the years, after Star Wars and other movies, it morphed more into a I guess there's elements of other movies. There's a little bit of Star Wars, particularly with the robotic stuff.
Well, they definitely the evolution of this movie definitely went towards the Star Wars looking stuff, because you've got an R2D2 looking robot. You've got the robotic troops that they have in there that look like stormtroopers. They've got those. They definitely borrowed from Star Wars.
Yeah. I think there's a number of influences. There's a lovely Le Trou Noir, French one, French poster with extra black hole.
Imagine that out of the French.
Added black hole. Yeah, it became more of an outer space epic than a disaster movie. It retained a few of the disaster elements, but it also has an awful lot to owe to, I think, to Forbidden Planet.
Yeah.
With a sort of the Reinhardt character obviously has an analog in the Forbidden Planet, as do some of the robots. Some of the scientific
the mission stuff, gone wrong,
wrong. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it has some elements of that. It also has clearly some elements of 2001, particularly at the end.
Point, how didn't you if you were a sci-fi movie?
That's right. Yeah, particularly in the ending, of course, which is for Disney was incredibly metaphysical and allegorical.
Yep.
Just what did happen to Reinhardt and Maximilian the robot? Did they kind of become some symbiote? I don't know how that worked. They never spelled it out, but there was lots of, figures standing on Dante's Inferno type landscapes.
Mm-hmm.
So that for Disney, this was like, wow, what does this mean? So it's got some elements of that, and it definitely was a tip to an earlier Disney science fiction movie, albeit from 1954, and
Kirk Douglas and James Mason, one of my favorite movies ever. Love this movie.
It owes an awful lot to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Especially Reinhardt. He reminded me so much of Nemo in multiple different ways.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually kind of cannibalized not that they wrote 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, of course, but they kind of cannibalized their own canon, as it were. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, the tale of the sort of doomed genius remotely doing his own thing and perhaps not in line with the rest of humanity. There's a theory out there that all great writers steal from classics. So, hey, there you go. Some Star Wars. Well, they do. They stole from themselves. So I guess that's a good thing. Yep. And indeed, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is one of the very few science fiction movies Disney had done up till that point. And then up till the black hole. I mean, I had a look through their catalog. 20,000 Leagues stood out because that's clearly, Jules Verne science fiction. Right, that's Jules Verne science fiction. Yeah. I think they broached it occasionally. The entire Kurt Russell midfield college stuff, the computer was all based in science fiction, but they were comedies. They were kids' movies. Yeah, really. So they had science fiction themes in something like you mentioned. Yeah, computer wore tennis shoes. The Witch Mountain films. A little bit of that with psychic stuff. Yep. Absent-Minded Professor, which was a comedy but had elements of science fiction in it. So, but they really didn't go hard into science fiction at all, Disney. No. I don't think. I don't know whether that's just it wasn't seen as a family thing. Yeah, I guess you could say that. Because when you're talking science fiction, you're talking about first of all, your audience is probably educated, which means
kids really aren't going to get into it right away. You know what I mean? They probably wouldn't understand it, but you know, that all changed with the space opera, though.
No doubt. It did. Yeah, space opera became, and you see the space opera elements being brought into the scope of the black hole. So
right. When you said it was supposed to be a disaster movie to begin with, that didn't shock me at all, because you watch this and it has those elements of an old Irwin Allen disaster flick. I
think I could have coped with that if it had been, a space station threatened by a black hole, having to do all sorts of stuff to get out.
Right.
And
you've got that captain who's going to make the mission happen no matter what.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. So Scott Askins, hi, good to see you. Scott was actually, I thought at first he was giving us a message of how bad the show was, but no, it is a quote from the movie.
No, it's a good movie.
Now, Davina has pointed out one I missed, and I'm not sure, how did I forget the cat
from outer space? Yes. Once again, though, that's geared towards kids, though. It really
because I've never seen it. That's how I forgot it.
Really? You never saw that one?
I don't think. At least I don't think so. I mean, as I say, I'm getting old. I might have seen
you were getting close. You were in your teens then.
Well, I was 16.
You were starting your teens.
By the time this
79, I was a freshman in high school, so I was about 14.
By the time the black hole came out, I was already in the military.
Really?
For being in the RAF for 2 months.
How old were you?
16.
Wow.
Joined up at 16.
Wow.
So I distinctly recall going to see this whilst I was in my training. So with a bunch of guys. So because it was like, because we were all into science fiction. But interesting,
I was in high school, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, the competition at the time, there was Star Trek, the motion picture.
Yes.
Was out in a similar time frame. Can't remember the exact month. You were probably Aliens was 1979. Or Alien was 79. Alien was 79.
I feel like that was, you could be absolutely right on that.
Alien was 1979.
I think it did. Yeah. A lot of people think it's the early 80s, but it's not. It is in the 70s.
Yeah. So I think it was competing with, in a science, I mean, there are different types of science fiction, but it's competing in that area. So Alien, Star Trek motion picture. Mad Max was out in 79, the first Mad Max.
Yeah, but we really didn't see that in the States. We caught that on cable later. We didn't see that.
The second one was the one you guys really
That's
saw.
the one we got in the 80s. The Road Warrior's the one that made everybody look back and see, wait a minute, this is a sequel? I need to see the first one, Yeah. That kind of thing.
So there was a few others. There wasn't a big year for science fiction that I can think of.
Yeah, Alien, same year, 79.
Alien, yeah. There's a few more. They'll come back to me. So before we get into, we'll be talking about various aspects of the plot, but I always like to take a really good look at the cast.
Yes.
And I think this had a very interesting cast for a Disney movie, in that some of them were not necessarily Disney or child-friendly, family-friendly movie fodder.
No.
Maybe I'm not sure there was a great track record of people who'd worked for Disney at all, even in it. Whilst the behind-the-scenes crew were all firmly Disney veterans. You've right out the gate, you've got Maximilian Schell, which is funny that the robot's called Maximilian too. Yeah. Maximilian Schell, Dr. Hans Reinhardt. Of course, they had to make the villain German.
Of course.
Scientist and supposedly sole human on board the USS Cygnus. I wonder if he really was alone. Kind of alone, I guess you could say. Kind of alone. He is clearly based, as Pope said, on Captain Nemo. He's brilliant and obsessed, and he will not be deviated from his burning mission, which is to insert himself into that black hole.
Whoosh.
So Schell was, a great heavyweight actor.
Yes,
is always great as a villain. Like this guy, a great track record. One of the most successful foreign actors ever in English language movies. Things like the Odessa File, St. Ives, So the Desafile, a great movie. I will say he ended up playing Germans a lot of the time. Isn't that weird? Typecast.
You forget John Voight was ever that young.
You
know?
do. And there he is in the Desafile. This is one of my favorites, though. St. Ives with Charles Bronson.
Yep.
Stives, as you could call it.
Jacqueline Bisset, man.
Protect me from Maximilian, said Dr. Reinhardt. That's true, he did. So, hello, Taylor Swift, etc. I'll just say Taylor Swift, etc.
You got to say etc. Yeah.
ETC. So, St. Ives, Cross of Iron. Now, that is a movie. That's what I call a movie.
Yes.
Peckinpah, Cross of Iron. And strangely enough, he played a German in it.
Imagine that.
But as he did, of course, in A Bridge Too Far.
Mm-hmm.
He did play German officers a lot, although he was a committed anti-Yahtzee in his real life, from all accounts. But he, I mean, it was good work, so he was going to do it.
Right.
So great actor and did some great films in the 70s, particularly those ones. I mean, Cross of Iron is
These
just
are not Disney flicks he's making.
No, this is the point. So straight away, straight out the gate, heavyweight actor playing the villain. Then we had, I love the German, Das Schwarze Loch. The Black Loch. Sounds like a Scottish pipe tune. Robert Forster.
Mm-hmm.
I'd forgotten. I actually kept forgetting he was in this. Not because I forget Robert Forster, but so used to seeing him later that he was the heroic lead. Captain Dan Holland, captain of the USS Palomino, on a 5-year mission to explore deep space. Well, it's a mission. It doesn't say 5 years. Set in 2130, I believe, this movie, the year 2130.
It's only 5 years from now. Hey,
that's right. Well,
got a bright future here.
That's true. I never thought of it that way. Are we in 2130 or we're 20? No, we're 20. It's 105 years.
Oh, 105 years. You say
thank God for that. I thought we just skipped a century.
Gotcha. I skipped one. Yeah.
Robert Forster, yes, in a rare starring role in a big budget thing up to that point, although he'd been a very busy actor. Mm-hmm. He's the captain of the Palomino. He's no nonsense. He's seasoned. You can't pull the wool over this guy's eyes, and he does not trust Reinhardt. Goes snooping around, quite rightly. Prolific and varied career, but later came into great prominence with my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie, Jackie Brown.
Yeah.
If you don't have this as your favorite Tarantino, you've got no heart.
Okay, well, I guess I got a heart.
It's a love
not
story.
Not my favorite one, but it's a good movie. It's really good. The cast is amazing in that flick. No doubt.
Yeah. And he is so good.
Yeah, he is.
So is Pam Grier, of course. And then, of course, later on, Breaking Bad, where he played the identity specialist that helped all of the
See, I'm going to... I'll have to look it up and get the correct name for it, but my favorite movie with him in it is like a B-movie science fiction flick called Peacemaker.
Oh,
and
Peacemaker.
He's the bad guy in it.
Yeah.
And it's about two aliens chasing each other around Earth. The Peacemaker is the young guy that shows up and has to learn English, and he's chasing this guy who's the bad guy in it. And it's
I have seen it. I have seen it a long time ago.
Fantastic, man.
Nowadays, I'm more Pacemaker than Peacemaker. But
yeah, right.
Hey, John, it's good to see. Good to see you in the chat, buddy. Daswolfen, John Daswolfen. Good to see you, mate. Sorry you can't make it tonight, but we'll see you back again soon, I'm sure. But of course, we all know that Robert Forster's greatest hour was indeed appearing in the Delta Force.
Yes, of course.
With Chuck Norris.
Norris, yes.
Marvin. I mean, come on. He appeared with Chuck Norris in the Delta Force. You can't get better than that.
Yep.
Playing not a white American character. But yes, we covered that movie not so long ago, and a fantastic performance. Oh, there we go.
Peacemaker. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about from 1990. Yes. It's got this guy right here. I never remember his name. The guy from Die Hard. That's one of the FBI agents. What is that guy?
The guy that's the singer now.
Yeah, Robert Davi. He's in it. Yeah, he's the cop in it, for the Earth cop. But yeah, Great movie, man. If you guys want to see
Yeah.
some a B flick that's a lot of fun, check that one out.
Pretty
That
sure I
one's great.
VHS rented that back in the day.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, good one. So that's why part of the fun of these shows, for those who've never seen any of these, is we don't just talk about the movie. I like to talk about the actors and what they did before.
You know, man.
Some of our other things that we liked them in,
Yep.
genre things. So next up, of course, another actor previously not associated with Walt Disney.
No, not at all. You give me the
Anthony-
splasher. Come on,
Anthony
man.
Perkins, who plays the USS Palomino lead scientist, Dr. Alex Durant, who is sympathetic to Reinhardt and a little bit naive.
Yes.
But he's Maximilian isn't his greatest fan. Okay, that's part of it. Anyway, so like, but yeah, Anthony Perkins was a big surprise in this movie. So like Maximilian Schell Forster, not an actor necessarily associated with family films, obviously Psycho.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually a big fan of Psycho 2.
Yes. We talked about that when during our Halloween celebration this year. Yeah, great.
Maybe like a year or two after.
Oh, maybe, huh? More like decades. How many years was it between those?
No, well, Psycho 2, I think, was not long after The Black Hole. Psycho 2.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the original Psycho. I was like, man, it was years later.
So I think Psycho 2 was pretty hot on the heels of this, maybe like 81, 82. So great to see him in a different kind of role, and he was really good in it. I mean, he's not always psycho, literally, but he's done he did other things that I liked, like Murder on the Orient Express with Sean Connery, of course, was in that one.
Of course.
Yes, of course. And then, of course, he's played with another Bond, Roger Moore, in North Sea Hijack.
Yeah.
You got to see this movie. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, dude, that's an action-packed sucker right there.
Great, Andrew McLagan.
Yep.
Great movie. So he played with a couple of Bonds, and that's, given his private life, that may be true. Yvette Mimieux, who, despite her name, was actually American. Yvette Mimieux played Dr. Kate McRae, scientist and psychically bonded to the robot Vincent. How did that work? Was it like electromagnetic or something? I don't know. That she could use her mind to speak to Vincent. She could switch a toaster on from across the room. Pope's not laughing at these jokes.
No, he's not. He must be busy doing something.
But she, of course, famously appeared in one of my all-time favorite movies, The Time Machine.
Yes.
Where in 1960, she played Weena. Who had the Weena here in this scene? That's what I wondered.
Back then, you didn't have to ask.
That's right. I did not have to ask her that, yeah. So
you knew who had it, right?
That's right. I think it was her first movie. She was quite the cutie in her day, I have to say. This is Walt Disney Productions approved.
Right.
Anyway, she was. Yes, never enough said. This is Toxic Tuesday, appended to Toxic Tuesday as a show. But anyway, our character's father served on the USS Cygnus, but is missing, presumed dead, with all the other crew because it's been missing for 20 years. Joseph Bottoms, not an actor I was massively familiar with before or after, played Lieutenant Charles Pizer. I can't help but call him Pfizer all the time, though. Charles Pfizer. Keep thinking it's Pfizer. He's the sort of, I guess he's the number 2 to the captain. He had a bit of he got a Golden Globe for this movie, which I've never seen. The Dove, which had music by John Barry. So there's a connection. But a yacht, one-man trip around the world on a yacht. So, but he also did a TV series, which I did see back in the day, Holocaust. So there he is holding his large loaf. He's got a big loaf there he's carrying. There's no joke in that. It's just a bit.
It's a huge hunk of bread.
Huge hunk of bread there. Moving on down the cast, Ernest Borgnine
See, when you said this could be a disaster movie, and you see Ernest Borgnine, you say yes, he was in every disaster movie.
And there's another cast member too that we're going to cover, and in fact,
Mm-hmm.
is the voice of the character, the voice sitting next to him. So yeah, he's obviously been in a million things over the years.
Yeah.
Super famous,
Great.
very versatile, which is why you could put him in something like this, no problem. Is in one of my other all-time favorite movies, along with all the other 300 all-time favorite movies I have. Obviously, The Wild Bunch.
The Wild Bunch is a great
just
flick,
another peck and pal like Cross of Iron.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got people from The Wild Bunch and Cross of Iron in this movie. That's legit.
This is a smelting pot of everything not Disney at the time. Disney was all about princesses and kids and now we got stone cold killers hanging out at Disney, man.
Right.
What's up?
Yeah, you got psychotic killers, you got
every kind of killer you can find, a gunslinger.
But obviously he was a decorated Navy veteran, so I salute him for that, and also played Vic Hale's Navy. It was a big show for him. But The Wild Bunch, the Poseidon Adventure.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't go swimming to get what's her name. Just don't do it.
Yeah, I can't remember the actress's name.
Barbara. No, I can't remember her name either. Somebody will tell us.
Shelley Winters.
Shelley Winters. That's it. Yep. And of course, who could forget Airwolf?
Airwolf. Yes.
Look at that cast. Look at those suits.
Mm-hmm.
What a great movie. So obviously he's been in 100 things, but these are the things that kind of stick in my mind when I think of Ernest Borgnine.
Escape from New York's first thing pops off of it for me, man. Love it.
Yeah. So
freak.
Voice acting, but not credited in the movie originally. And Roddy McDowall.
Yes.
Also in the Poseidon Adventure, of course. Playing Vincent. Now, can you tell me what Vincent means?
No, I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen this movie. But it's an anagram. Go ahead, tell us.
I believe I had to write it down. Vital information necessary centralized.
Yes. There you
go. Intelligent, witty, and well armed, which you want your robots to be. Never mind the 3 laws of robotics.
He is well armed, though. We find that out in the movie.
That's true. Prefers the company of humans to other robots, and who doesn't?
Great. So an armed antisocial robot.
Maladjusted with a psychic connection to a crazy woman.
I see no way this can go wrong.
I shall return.
So uncredited for Roddy McDowall, who another prolific actor who had done a few Disneys before. I mean, he was very versatile, Roddy McDowall. Obviously, Planet of the Apes, we all know and love. There's a great scene of him because the apes went on holiday. They didn't just, rule the planet. They occasionally went on beach holidays. So here he is going on holiday. British born, but raised in American, and actually did serve in American forces as well, Roddy McDowall. Cornelius, Planet of the Apes, in the Poseidon Adventure, with, of course, Ernest Borgnine. Also, though, one of my favorite horror movies, which I just wanted to mention just because it's my show, so to hell with it, is Fright Night.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah, so great movie where he plays, he's a vampire hunter, but it's actually a TV guy pretending to be a vampire hunter, but he gets brought in as a real vampire hunter. So that plot trope.
What do you mean it's a real vampire? Uh-oh.
So written and directed by Tom Holland, not that Tom Holland, the director Tom Holland. But Fright Night, great movie. If you've never seen it, fantastic movie. Also directed, this is a curiosity because we like trivia in the show, directed a movie, his one and only movie directed, that was The Devil's Widow, also known as The Ballad of Tam Lin, and that's a Scottish thing, Tam Lin, based on a Robert Burns poem. And it starred Ava Gardner and a young Ian McShane in 1970, I think that was. She drained them of their manhood and then of their lives. Can you think of any women like that?
One or two.
So that was his one and only directorial effort. But There he is in Fright Night, which is he was so good in that. So good. Looks like Matt Smith there. So the other robot or friendly robot, Bob, Biosanitation Battalion. Obviously, there was so much crap. That's right. There's so much crap on this ship. They needed a battalion of biosanitation. Old, battered, and very scared of Maximilian, who did unspeakable things to him, apparently. So that's not.
I didn't know Maximilian was an exec at Disney at the time.
That's right. Disney hasn't changed. Slim Pickens, uncredited, did the voice, and I did it as a Texan voice because Bob was programmed in Houston, of course. Dr. Strangelove, of course. See, they should have had a scene like this in the Black Hole. And then, of course, we know and love him from Blazing Saddles, Taggart, and various other things. Slim Pickens, legend. And then Maximilian robot, not voiced, but a key character, silent but deadly, and very loyal to Reinhardt. So that's the principal cast. There's obviously a few other people in robot suits and whatever, but we're going to talk about the robots and the visual effects a little bit coming up. The director's Gary Nelson, veteran TV director, and then started working with Disney. So he did stuff like Get Smart and Gunsmoke and Happy Days. Then Freaky Friday was a hit for him for Disney as a director with a young Jodie Foster. How long ago is that? That's incredible. And then he cemented his legend, though, with the unforgettable Alan Quatermain and The Lost City of Gold for Canon Films, and then probably never worked again. Greetings, One Man Show. And he made him watch his version of Hamlet. Yes. So Gary Nelson, though, Disney, I'd worked with Disney a lot up to that point. The DP, I don't have any pictures of him, was a guy called Frank V. Phillips, another Disney regular. He did the cinematography on Herbie Rise Again, Bedknobs, Broomsticks, Computer Wore Tennis Shoes, Witch Mountain, World's Greatest Athlete, Peach Dragon. So they had basically a Disney, like a lot of stuff Disney did. They had their crew.
Yeah.
Like, everything was Disney in-house, so the writing, though, and I'll come back to this image, the writing was done by various people, but the screenplay in the end ended up being by a guy called Jeb Rosebrook, who was a TV writer, had done a lot of 60s and 70s TV, didn't do any science fiction that I know. But his counterpart that also wrote the screenplay was a woman called Jerry Day. It was a woman, TV writer who did a lot of Westerns, but she also wrote this show.
Electra Woman and Dyna Girl. Hell yeah, man.
76's ABC show, Electra Woman and Dyna Girl. And you'll never believe it, I fell off my seat last night, not having remembered the show until I researched this tonight.
Oh, yeah.
On Toxic Tuesday, Mark D with a C mentioned this show. And I went, you're kidding me. In the same week, we both mentioned this.
Yeah, right. Electra Woman and Dyna Girl. They had a headquarters and everything, man. It was like Batman and Robin. It was cool.
It's the general, and I hadn't thought of it for like 40 years or something, and there it was. Yeah. And then Mark bloody mentioned it last night. I couldn't believe it. I fell out my seat. So that the writers did not have any of them, of the original story or the screenplay did the screenplay any track record in science fiction other than this. You could say this was genre science fiction. So not written by guys and girls who were into sci-fi particularly. But obviously I think just about everybody could agree the visual effects
off the chain in this movie.
Unbelievably good in this movie. I mean, I've got a whole ton of stuff I've written down here about it. We'll never get over it. But when we'll go through the movie stills, we'll talk a lot about it. But the ships are just one of those things that look so good. The Cygnus here, the models and the lighting of it, everything about it is just phenomenal. Well, I think
that it's different from a lot of ships you see in these sci-fis because of all the open areas on the ship.
Yeah.
with all the light coming out of it. I mean, it's definitely different from most of the things you see.
Yeah.
Um,
It looks so good. I always think it's one of the best ships in science fiction ever.
Yep.
A different angle from it. The scene, and we're going to show it in a second, the scene where the lights come on, it's fabulously done.
Very cool.
There's a lot of ways they'd filmed this to make it look as absolutely good as it could ever look in the pre-digital era. It deserved. I don't think it even got an Oscar for visual effects. It got a nomination. Didn't even get it. It should have got it.
Should have got it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And there's the Palomino, which is like a little bit of a rust bucket compared to the Cygnus. In fact, I'm not even sure how 5 people lived in that damn thing.
Right.
Oh, I forgot. Of course, Ernest Borgnine's character is on this 5-person mission into deep space is a journalist.
Mm-hmm.
He's not even a scientist or a rocket guy. He's a journalist. So they had, we'll just stick an overweight old journalist on this mission. What the hell, And he's a bit shifty. So, but the Palomino, some of the scenes inside are just stunning. Produced one of the last movies produced before CGI really took off. Lots of practical effects, miniatures, the matte paintings.
Yeah, we really didn't. I want to say Last Starfighter was probably the one that used CGI first as far as a space movie. I think that was the first one that used it. But these things,
this is all.
I'm always amazed watching these 70s and 80s movies where they used matte paintings. And if you guys don't know what a matte painting is, what they do is they paint on glass and then they put a light behind it. So it's amazing looking when they light it up.
Yeah,
a lot of the stuff in Star Wars was like that
and
too.
you'll see the little figures
walking
in the huge hall behind them, and that's all matte.
Yeah,
but they used that.
Amazing.
They had optical. They didn't even have digital compositing to put various film elements together. They had to still do it optically. So layer on layer of film with different effects. Pushed it to their absolute limits. They had a computerized camera control system though, which allowed them to make things look really smooth, even if it was made up of stop motion or multiple other film elements. The black hole, for instance, there's some of the control room, the bridge stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the black hole. This is concept art, but it's the black hole they created it with colored water on paint, and then colored gels, rotating models, and then added all those different film elements together with optical composition to do the black hole effect. And
that's what I love about the pre-CGI era of all this stuff is you had to come up with practical ways to do all this and make it look good. Like one of my personal favorites is still, the transporter from Star Trek being a bunch of like glitter in a glass of water that they filmed.
That's right.
I thought it was a salt shaker in front of a light is what they used for that.
Something like
TOS,
that.
Yes. I'm thinking of Next Generation. Sorry.
Okay, I got you.
So Emperors makes a good point about the interior of the Cygnus was too Spartan. And budget limits would play a part in that. I think, though, they also felt it gave it a sense of immensity in space. Like this was a huge ship, apparently. So it kind of gave that sense of, and if you think about it, how would they get all that weight into the ship for it to go on its mission if they'd filled it full of stuff? On the other hand, the lack of humans when you first get on board makes it look even emptier. So there's probably some upsides to the barrenness of some of the sets. Wonderful gear porn, as Paul would say, Paul Chato, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the Cygnus and the art. So there's the swirling black hole, which you see very often and through the views. Now, the only thing I felt about the Cygnus was there's an awful lot of glass in this damn thing. Like, would you really build a spaceship that make it look like it's the Crystal Palace in London or something with tons of glass and girders? It doesn't seem the most spaceshipy. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't know, man. We're talking the future, and like in Star Trek, they have these space docks where they build them. So who knows what the shapes of them would be?
Really,
they're not building them on Earth; they're building them up in space. So I mean, who knows what they are?
Lots of sand in space. Yeah, I think obviously they don't really go into propulsion in this, but clearly they're way out in the galaxy, and they've clearly got some kind of drive that can get them there must be faster than light. They must have some FT. They just don't even talk about it. And
Yeah, I
relativity.
think this is one of those movies where they didn't know how they were going to make that work, so they just didn't talk about it. We
Just
don't question it.
well,
They're
like ignore how we got out here, yeah, and how long that's been back on Earth while we've been out here. But look at this, the meteor strike stuff.
Oh man, that thing when it was rolling through
God.
there, it was amazing. Yeah, that was
still to me one of the best scenes
because it's a practical effect. Yeah, it's just amazing.
Actually, I'm gonna just play a couple. I don't have a lot of clips because, like all stuff like Disney stuff, it's hard to do.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to get around that.
But I've got a couple of.
Just don't show it for more than 10 seconds. You should be good.
Well, I got a couple of my own compositions of chopped up bits. So.
What's going on?
That's what I'd like to know.
Bingo. We have
Yeah, incredible stuff. Just a slight, and yeah, I also got to hear a little bit of the John Barry, the descending theme that he did.
I used to collect soundtracks, and I had more John Barry and John Williams than anything else.
Yeah.
And both of them I thought were right about the same level. I mean, everybody, when they talk about soundtracks, they always think of John Williams, but John Barry was right there. He did great stuff.
Yeah, fantastic.
My favorite one is Logan's Run soundtrack he did for that. It was amazing.
I love, he did so many great TV themes as well as all the great movies. Like he did The Persuaders and stuff like that. Just fantastic stuff. Quality whirring noises as well in this. The sound design. Look at the ship. If they'd done the hull entirely of metal, you wouldn't be able to see much of it as there's no local star to light it up. Excellent point again, which I guess the production team would be thinking of. Now, I don't have all the names of these wonderful visual effects guys that did all this because there was dozens of them, but there was a couple of them that were particularly prominent. But we'll talk about those guys as we're going through the stills. But brilliant production design. The miniatures, the models, everything about it, the puppetry of the robots are a mixture of practical robotic effects, puppetry, and stop motion animation. But it doesn't look like stop motion animation.
No,
the camera controlled stuff they did was digital camera control stuff they did was phenomenal. So yeah, the soundtrack. I've got that version that I showed earlier.
No, I don't think I had this one. I don't think I ever bought this.
There wasn't the original when the movie was out. They only released, I think it might even be, there was like a 32, 35 minute version of it. They've done a couple of better ones since, but I've got this one, as we showed earlier. Yeah, which I got very recently, actually.
Extremely cool.
I had it on digital, but I didn't have a physical copy. So it's good. It's great. It's one of John Barry's best, I think. It's the main theme, and the main theme at the beginning, the overture, and then the main theme married to the one bit that is computer generated is the opening credits. So that was married together very nicely, I thought. Let me flip on. So yeah, John Barry just should be very proud of this. I'm sure he was very proud of it. There's been a few other bits and pieces. I don't have this, but there was a Black Hole comic, Jack Kirby.
Wow.
So
of course, they turned everything into a comic back then. Yeah.
And then movie photo cards, bubblegum. I wish I had this, but I don't.
Hmm.
These are toys of the robots, but which are phenomenal. The robots, as I say, were a mixture of it in the movie. There were some actual robotic elements, but some of it was puppetry. But they look really, the movement of them, flowing movement, like when Bob goes up to the terminal at one point, it just flows up there. It's really nicely done. Doesn't look too staged, you know.
No.
So let's kick off some of the stills, I think. We hide that on the stream. Is everybody okay out there? Are we all still okay?
I think we are.
We are. Everyone's doing groovy. Hello to Kronos. And Tim was saying he went to the St. Clement Danes Church in London, the RAF church. Funnily enough, despite all my visits to London, including in the military, I never went there. So that's an omission on my part. Right. Let me whip it out.
Look out. Excuse me while I whip this out.
I have a video. Oh yeah, here we go. So let's just get into. We can talk about all sorts of wonderful stuff while these are playing. The usual movie stills, which I've got quite a few I've captured because there's so many great scenes. So yeah, the music playing under this is the main theme with that descending,
right,
which just gets you every time, and it adds, because it's a PG and they couldn't go too heavy into anything dark. The score added a lot of that. I think it's very important to.
Are you kidding me? Yeah, the music. Look, you can never overestimate the impact on the soundtrack on a film. I mean, just look at Jaws and some of the other classics. I mean, my gosh, yeah, the music can make all the difference. And if you've got bad music, it can do the same thing, ruin it. So yeah,
and this one really added to it. I think it's got everything as a score. There's nothing. He wasn't phoning it in on this one.
No, not at all.
Mr. Pfizer there, you see. Mm-hmm. It's lush. It was an orchestral, but he did add some electronic elements too. And John Barry was never afraid of that. He had some of that in his earlier soundtracks, like early synthesizer stuff. So they're on the Palomino here. And I do like the stage set of this. They've really done a good job, and putting this black hole holographic readout thing. It all looks really good, I think. There's apparently an error at one point where you see somebody in the scenes where they're supposed to be floating without gravity, somebody grabbing onto one of the actors' legs to do something with it. But I couldn't spot it, but apparently it's in there somewhere. It's a blooper. Anyway, so yeah, Palomino's out there on its mission. Maybe they're blowing up unstable planets. I don't know. They do have warheads on board.
Well, I mean, hey, they could have been coming after the Dark Star because you got to figure out what happened to those guys,
right? We never did find out.
No, they've got warheads to destroy the Dark Star, but apparently there's a bunch of missing ships, one for every country. So they've all lost one. Is that the dude that had his dead mother upstairs in a chair and liked to dress like his dead mother? Yes, that is that dude. She is actually upstairs in the cell. But this tiny little spacecraft, I guess if they were on a long mission, it might have been a bit awkward in this one. And they introduced some of these philosophical and whatever. This is Disney upmarketing itself a little bit, I think. But they found the Cygnus, so they're all going, oh, that's what it is. We lost that damn large ship long ago. Now, I've always found it interesting that they know there's this massive black hole there, and they can see the ship, and it's not getting sucked into it. And then they kind of, there's a lot of gravity. I mean, people did criticize the film at the time for being inaccurate. Well, if we criticized every science fiction film for being inaccurate,
come on.
we wouldn't have any.
We wouldn't have any.
There was a
Yeah.
bit of jiggery pokery with gravity in this. Like the Cygnus has got an anti-gravity device. These guys are talking about, well, gravity is getting heavier. I don't think it does that. I think you could say we're being attracted at a greater rate by the mass, but anyway. There's more gravity out there.
We're also dealing with actors here. I don't know if they even understand the difference.
Gravity is close to maximum. What is the maximum of gravity?
All right.
I'm not quite sure I get that one. You could have a maximum acceleration for a particular mass if you're falling into a particular mass. But anyway, so there was a lot of criticism of that, but just go with it. Just go with it. Yeah, they're circulating around Lizzo. That's what the problem is.
A mass from which no man can escape.
Yes.
Cannot escape that one. No.
But yeah, because they have this. They did some. I really did like the way they filmed this to give you the size of the ship that they're circulating around.
Yep.
They had their exit. They had their little problem there where they thought they were going to get drawn into the black hole, and Vincent had to go outside and fix the broken door, which I'm sure was so exciting that they had to fix it right there and now while they're being dragged into a black hole.
Right.
But that was their attempt to, in what was otherwise a fairly slow film, to bring some kind of action into it. But once they get near the ship, they're in this mysterious anti-gravity field. Maximally improved. That's how you can see light speed, yes. Light speed, warp speed. So yeah, here we go. They're about to get whipped into the black hole. Lots of inventive camera work. People floating around, others getting crushed to the floor, all that good stuff. It's an enormous gravitational field. And black holes, well. We're living inside one, apparently. According to some astrophysicists, we are living inside a black hole right now.
You could.
We could be. Warp 10 is really annoying. I go straight to 14.
Now you're making me think of Donald Sutherland in Animal House. Yeah, there's one tiny universe in my fingernail. Yeah, okay,
right, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. From a science viewpoint, it's pure cringe.
Yeah.
But then again, many science fiction movies are, and it's Disney, and none of them have written a science fiction movie before. So
although someone at Disney must at least know something, because they named the ship USS Cygnus, which was the first black hole that we ever really proved existed.
Yeah. And obviously in 2130, they are all still listening to Soundgarden. And they probably are. They're going, like, put the oldies station on. Oh, I don't like that 2 centuries old stuff. Have you got any of that classical music like Nirvana?
Oh God.
Yeah.
The fact that's considered classical, truly a dark timeline.
Yeah. But I doubt any of the actors. Hey, Imp is here.
Yes, I am.
Good to see you, buddy.
There he is.
Yeah,
Been missing you, man.
Yeah, well, man's got to do what a man's got to do to feed himself.
I knew that.
Talking about classic pop songs there, Air Supply.
Don't you start.
They're all out of love.
I've had enough fuckery for my night, thank you.
Oh, it's barely begun. But yeah, the actors in these things. I mean, remember the Star Wars cast, the Harrison Ford. George, you can't say this shit. You can write it, but you have to say it. But I don't think this one's that bad. I actually think it's fair, given that it's not real. If they really were that close to a black hole, they'd be in deep shit already. Well, the radiation from the decaying matter around it alone, but also the fact that they'd be merrily speeding towards the event horizon. All that stuff. But given that, I don't think it's that bad. I still don't know how they've got an overweight geriatric journalist on board a scientific mission with 5 people. But
He's embedded with the troops.
He's embedded. They should have had a chest burster come out of him, I think. He's the actor that should have had a chest burster in this. He's having a heart attack. Quick, give him CPR. Yeah, no. But yeah, I love all this little touches they've done with the screens and the holograms and the whatever. It's pretty damn good. I don't particularly like the fact that they keep calling Alex, the doctor there, Yvette Mimieux, girl. She's about 40. Poor she call her girl. I mean, Anthony Perkins calls her girl. He's probably the same age. How toxic is that? Hey, babe, go make me a sandwich while we look at this
sandwiches, chick.
While we look at this sign stuff. She was hot back in the day. Did you see the picture, Cronus? I'll have to show it again. You see, you've made me want to go find that image of Yvette Mimieux again. You're just you're making this show toxic. That's all you're doing.
It's not Tuesday, folks. Come on.
It's not Toxic Tuesday, you know. There she was, just about to encounter some gravitational thrust. I'm sorry, Yvette. I think she's still with us. I think that she's the only cast. Oh, no, maybe she's gone too. I think it's hard. I think they're all gone. Maybe Bottoms is still around, Joseph Bottoms. Yvette Mimieux might actually be gone too. I think he might be the only cast member left, Joseph Bottoms. Oops, press play. So yeah, they get sucked into into the Cygnus, which appears kind of lifeless. But something's working. The lights are on. Look at all that solar power.
Would solar power even work near a black hole? Because the whole thing is there's no light.
There wouldn't be a lot of it, I don't think. There's probably a lot. If you could harness gamma rays, you'd be okay.
Yeah, right.
Just put a grape charge on Trump. She passed away 2022. That's sad, Davina. I think, yeah, Joseph Bottoms is the only cast member still alive out of this whole cast. But it is, what, 79, 89, 90,
79.
45 years ago?
And most of the cast was middle-aged at the time. So
yeah, 45 years ago. So Mr. Pfizer, I'll never stop calling him Mr. Pfizer. But he's so you get Vincent gets to show off some of his shtick through these scenes. You know, he's a philosophical robot, and as we say, he can read Yvette Mimieux's mind, and he likes what he reads. First sign that things might be a little bit tricky here. That somebody starts shooting at them.
Well, it is an American ship, so that is our traditional greeting.
Shoot first, ask questions later.
I forgot that they didn't see the sign when they walked in that said "Hippity hoppity, get off my property."
That's right. It said, "This is a concealed carry." No, this is an open carry ship.
Well, I mean, it was built in Texas, so
yeah. I like all these sets. Immediately, you knew you were on something with it. There's a big matte shot there. They put a lot of effort into this. I can understand why people said, well, it's a little slow and a little not much going on, but visually stunning. And then we've got the robots from Buck Rogers.
Yep.
Indeed. So, yeah. And this bit, yeah, I mean, this is all like, well, okay, more great visuals. Shoot somebody. Shoot someone, goddammit. Well, they thought this thing was lost. It'd been lost for 20 years, never responded to any messages, although they must have had faster than light communications then for it to even bother. Assuming that they're, let's say, 100 million light years away. Your average communication isn't going to make it. Again, they don't go into the how does anything travel faster than light in this.
You know what I say to that, Pope? Sounds like some Comstar shenanigans to me.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
And then there's the null gravity field that Reinhardt's created. Yeah, this was always an impressive shot though. When they open the door, to the, I guess what we would call the bridge. And I'm still not entirely sure what these two things up here are that they're poking around with. Are the images of planets, or are the actual domes that something's going on inside? Never been able to figure that
Well,
out.
that
They
one
look,
guy standing up there seems to be fishing or something. So
he's fishing. I actually thought he might have been poking it with a stick to see if it would react.
well,
I
that
think,
is very scientific. So
he could be a dark star alien beach ball. Just it's the mother beach ball. I have a little clip of some of this. It's my chopped up copyright avoiding clip.
Incredible.
It ought to be. Sure costs the taxpayers enough.
Identify yourself. What is your type and model?
A ship of robots and computers with this thing in charge? Not quite, Dr. Durant.
They really should have called him Durant. I think that was and then they could have played girls on film in the background every time they said that name. I think Duran were just about to have their first hit single, Planet Earth, coincidentally, around about this time. Set phasers to puree. That's right, rotating. It's not a very effective weapon. A couple of rotating whiskers. Great looking set though, and I got to give them huge kudos for it.
Did they ever reuse this stuff in any production?
I don't know. I didn't read anything anywhere that said they did, but I can't believe they wouldn't.
Right, spend this much money on this?
Yeah, I can't believe they would.
Yeah, but at the same time, this is one of those movies that Disney is forgotten about.
It has been forgotten. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is. Obviously, you can buy it and it's on streaming, but it's not.
Yeah, but you never hear Disney ever reference it for anything. They haven't since like the early 80s.
Yeah, it wasn't a hit and it didn't have a lot of affection at the time. And they've not exploited the people since that actually do love it. People have grown to love it. I have. I think it looks so good. And I appreciate that they tried to make it darker than any other Disney film. It was not a kids movie, albeit they didn't go very far with the adult stuff, but they had themes, death and life and death, metaphysical stuff, some horror type elements with the robots and so on. So I give them full marks for trying.
Right.
Yeah, and really, Maximilian Schell really should get himself a set of beard trimmers.
Something.
We have this great, huge ship with all these flashing lights, and no one packed a fucking beard trimmer. You could get Maximilian to do it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but see, he'll probably tell you, I'm not out here to pick up women. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Well, there's probably women in the crew, but they're not quite as attractive as they used to be. He's more into the robots, I think, by this time. Culture Casino inspired him. That's right. He's got the weave. He's got the weave of the future. It's the weave of the future.
No, if 70s had been running the show, it would have been all robots and one sheep.
That's right, one sheep. There are no sheep-shaped robots, which I think is they needed to keep them sheep-shape in Bristol fashion. But yeah, he's 20 years. Yeah, I ignored all your messages. I'm good, man. It's like a party out here.
New ship, who dis?
That's right. Anti-gravity forces were developed. And now, see, talk about racist.
Right?
There's
A
no
Mexican standoff, man.
There's no Latinos on board this ship, and he's having a Mexican standoff. Jeez. Can you wax in space? In space, when you wax, no one can hear you scream. You're not moving, are you, Cronus? Yeah. Keep it coming. These chats are great. Yeah, trash compactor. It's interesting. The Vincent has a personality, like we grew to love in Star Wars with R2D2, C3PO, and other things. The robot Vincent has a personality, and it seems to have an awful lot of independent capability. Is that something we're likely to have in a century's time from now, which is when this is set? Is he really independent, or is they just programmed that way?
Well, I mean, sufficiently intelligent robot would just naturally develop that on its own. So,
well, would they though? So this is what I'm wondering. Did they program him with that personality?
That's entirely possible too.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to be out in space for years at a time, having another personality on board would probably be beneficial if you had something that was just your standard robot.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things where that might add to the space madness, shall we say.
Add to the team ethos.
That too, yeah.
And he's got this psychic connection, unexplained, with the female doctor. So Kate, can't remember her surname. Her father, of course, was on the Cygnus, Kate McRae, and that's one of the first things she asks about for Reinhardt. And he said, sorry, he didn't make it.
He didn't make it.
He didn't make it. They never quite explains. Did he explain what happened to them all, the crew? I can't remember.
I don't think he ever did.
I don't think he really ever explained that, something happened to them. I think he may have mentioned it. I can't remember now. But so Maximilian, was he again? They've got all these robots on board, like Bob here. Maximilian, was he on board, or was he Reinhardt created him? I don't know if he was. So would you really put a Maximilian on board that ship? Because he's pretty nasty. I
mean, it depends. Do you want secret evil robot things to happen on the ship? That's how you get that.
We'll put a robot, a secretly evil robot on board with no 3 robotics laws controlling it. Things will be fine.
It worked for 2001, so.
Yes, things will be fine. Now, you see, Hal wasn't secretly evil, though, was he? He was just psychotic.
Well, he was programmed with a secret set of orders, and they conflicted, and he basically broke.
Davina's got an answer for you about the father.
That's it. Okay, I knew it when I'd watched it earlier today for like the 3rd time, but sometimes I'm fiddling about with images and I'm watching it. He does say he sent them back to Earth. Technically, he ordered the human crew to return to Earth without him. But technically, he's not lying. He could have ordered them to do that and then killed them all. I did order them, though. Kate's father chose to remain aboard and has since died. And so the captain is suspicious naturally and goes off looking through all their quarters. This is a huge ship. Like, I mean, when you think of the engineering undertaking to build this thing, it must have been incredible. And he finds her father's clothes and so on. And then there's this weird ceremony going on. I think Zardos is about to appear.
Oh, look out.
he's down there with
not the red G-string. No.
Zardos. But they're finding these creepy things as they poke about, weird stuff going on. Here's the this guy is playing the organ, the Hammond organ. Well, he should be. He should have had a massive Hammond organ there and been playing selections from Deep Purple and ELP. That would have been fun.
In a scene that's totally not a ripoff of 20,000 Leagues.
That's right. I found you playing your organ. And our intrepid reporter is out. Oh, do you know what was funny about about Ernest Borgnine earlier? The reporter, he must be the only reporter in the last 150 years that gives a shit that the taxpayers' money was spent on something.
Right.
A lot of taxpayer money, like you would care. They're all suckers anyway. But taxpayer money is sending him out to space as a journalist. What's he going to report on out there? I saw Yvette Mimieux naked in the shower. Film at 11.
I went to space. It was dark.
It was dark. He goes up to Yvette Mimieux. Well, bang, okay. Deep Purple. Yes, he should have been playing some Hammond organ parts. Phantom of the Paradise. That's actually what should have came to mind. They should have had a Phantom of the Paradise section. For those newer to my channel, I did do a video about that film some time ago. It's in the list somewhere. Check it out. So this is Anthony Perkins is starting to get the hots for Reinhardt's. He likes the weave. He's entranced by the weave. The weave itself has anti-gravity powers. I believe the weave. Yep, indeed. It's full of these little bon homies, you know, little bits of wisdom. Now, this bit here, kind of, this, I hate the company of robots, was kind of, this is where it kind of gets into Buck Rogers-y sort of Star Wars territory with the robot marksmanship competition, because clearly robots have got lots of inclination to stand around practicing their shooting skills because they've, you know, why would a robot even need to practice?
Well, I mean, that's a very good question, isn't it?
Now, you could test them to see if they did it, but practicing for fun? I don't know. And wouldn't the automatic targeting systems built in rule out any individual skill that the robot may have?
That would mean it would, yeah.
I'm kind of, I know I'm getting a bit deep into it, but
this seems like a scene from a Bond movie, the villain hosting everybody.
It is.
Well,
really,
there was one like it in 20,000 Leagues as well, where they all sit down to dinner.
I know,
with it.
yeah.
It's right. It's kind of a straight take of that.
Yep.
John Barry's doing the music too, like a Bond movie. So,
yeah.
Yeah. Tiny. Our wine and spare parts are vintage. Well, that's the kind you want. We have a whole warehouse full of spare Harley parts. They're vintage Harley parts. We don't have any bikes on board, but he doesn't. Yeah, so he kind of starts to reveal his. There's Anthony Perkins sucking up to him. Starts to reveal that he's standing on the brink. Well, just don't move over the brink then.
Yep.
And he sent a probe into the black hole.
Well, you got to send in the tip first.
Tip. He sent the tip of the probe in first. I think one man shows making a great point here. Why wouldn't a robot's arm be designed with 360-degree rotation at the shoulder? Yes, the humanoid bipedal robot is not necessarily the most efficient or effective one, is it? I'll let him tell us about that. He's into mechanics. He's into the mechanical stuff.
No, not really. I'm not.
Well, when it comes to games, video games, you are.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. Bit different.
Same but different. But yeah, I can't believe they would ever miss if their computerized targeting systems were.
If anything, it could be just a way to test to make sure that their targeting systems and programming, as far as that goes, is still on the up and up, and it's not,
it's
over time degrading and deteriorating.
Good point. Yeah. They're just independently carrying out the test, I guess.
So was he programmed to do the gunslinger thing, putting up his guns there?
That's different, yes. He's even got a medal. Yeah, the old gunslinging bit. This is where they introduce that personality part of the robots, which would seem to be inefficient programming for many of them. I get it with the ones that were on the ship, though. Vincent on the ship, having a personality would make him far more effective. Yeah, they're sitting up there with that black hole that close, this super massive black hole. Yes, they're counteracting the gravity, but I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of gamma and X-rays being thrown out of that vortex. Hey, but that's just me.
You want to talk about an atom smasher?
Mm-hmm.
This was possibly the most Disney part of the movie.
Right?
Let's have the cute robots doing some, some stuff.
We promise they're not merch.
Yeah, promise we're not going to merch these. Not bad though; they look quite good.
Hey, they had toys. It's Disney. They had them.
But it's kind of those robots are very Buck Rogers, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, some great effects, some great visuals.
Somewhere between Flash Gordon and Star Wars.
Yes, it's more on the Flash end at times. Yes. So he's revealing his plan. He's got a big plan. He wants to go into the black hole, and why not? See, I don't disagree with him. He may be a psychotic madman that's killed or zombified his entire crew, but otherwise, leaving that aside, the probe has escaped. It has withdrawn, pulled back.
Now, I mean, playing devil's advocate here, I mean, is there a better person to send into the black hole than the madman?
Exactly.
He wants to go.
Let him go. Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it. We'll record it.
Yeah, let him go. Now that would have been cool. Black hole wallpaper. Yeah, nice. See, that's what I call merchandising.
Yeah.
Even wallpaper.
But this whole set just comes off like something out of The Spy Who Loved Me right here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They must have incredible ability to build and launch spaceships in this era, because they even packed a freaking chandelier.
Right.
Like, I mean,
it should have been just shattered all over the place.
You can't even put a pencil on a current space mission without worrying if it makes it too heavy. Let's just chuck a chandelier and 100 crates of wine on board.
Like you said earlier, this is 2130.
Yeah.
So, they're building these things in space. They're building them in the void of space. So they're not hampered by gravity when they build them. So
they have no weight thrust ratio.
Of course, they got to get them up to the space dock. So right. Yeah, unless they got a glass furnace up there in space now. I don't know.
I suspect that they are using space elevators by this time. So they can just send anything up they like. It's geostationary orbit. But yeah, you'd be building everything either in space or on the moon, probably.
I mean, the space elevator can go anywhere you want except the 13th floor.
You don't want to stop at that. Yeah.
See, now you got me imagining Foundation now.
Yes, the brainwashing room called CNN. It's the CNN room. This is as dark as it gets for Disney, though. What they're doing to the crew, and I guess the crew wanted to go back to Earth. Reinhardt said, "Nah, I'm staying, and I'm not letting you take me with you."
Yeah.
Look at these sets, though, man.
Oh, it looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
Looks so good. I think by this time, Yvette Miu, like Carrie Fisher, should have been in a bikini by this time.
Come on.
If it wasn't a Disney movie.
If it wasn't a Disney movie, she would have, yeah.
That's right.
Most definitely.
And you could
Been
never
changing
figure,
clothes by now.
yeah, I could never figure out what the black hole was about. I thought it was a show with Muppets because of the cute robots. Well, in a sense, it is really. I mean, it's got the cute robots with the humor. They're the humorous, the light.
Yeah, they're
relief.
the comic relief in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody, all the humans are serious as they can be.
Yeah. Maximilian Schell here, Reinhardt's considering whether he should tell them about his Panzer division that he's created.
I've got this robot named Rommel, and
Wonder how they will react.
Turns around in the mirror and the sideburns and the side of the mustache just falls off.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's right. I see a lot of Doctor Who cheesiness here. Good to see you, Darth. There's an element of that, but you know what? It's hard to compare the two because Doctor Who's budget was so abysmal that they would have died just to have the chandelier, never mind the rest of the sets and stuff. Like Doctor Who would have been
the outfits maybe, and this is just me being an old Irwin Allen fan from when I was a kid and used to watch Land of the Giants. That's what it makes me think of, their uniforms with the turtlenecks and everything.
Yeah,
they always had high collar uniforms, the guys on that show and everything, and yeah, that's what it makes me think of.
Yeah, Reinhardt doesn't. Oh no, Reinhardt doesn't look evil at all. Yes, he's not acting at all evil. He should have a sign on his head that flashing evil.
He's just misunderstood.
That's right. Nobody understands my desire to rule the universe. He doesn't really want to rule the universe. He just wants to see what's on the other side of the black hole.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's all he wants to do. And he'll let nothing stand in his way of that. But yeah, I mean, you can't go. Well, I don't think you can go in a black hole. They do talk about wormholes, but you'd be shredded. You'd be spaghettified before you got near it.
Come on. You would be crushed.
Yeah, he's thinking his anti-gravity stuff will help him. And he's got it all worked out. He's going to go in from the certain angle so the vortex gives him the speed.
Like a turd going down the pole.
Like
Come on, bro.
Going down the pole.
Come on, bro.
Yep. He's flushing that spaceship right down now. But yeah, the robot. Yeah, I agree. You know, the robots with the cloaks and the shiny face mask, very simple but effective.
Yes,
I almost think they could have made more out of that. They don't really play a big part other than the unveiling of the face of one of them. They're really just sitting around a lot. It's the robots that do a lot of the action. But nobody's yet thought to go up and like put your hand on one and see if it's actually warm, or they look suspiciously like, why would you build a robot that looked like that? I don't know. Weird. How did he build them all? Has he got a robot manufacturing facility on board?
He's been out there a while.
Yeah.
You know.
Is that really his specialty, Reinhardt? Robotics?
And maybe, it could be a V'ger situation. He could have gotten this tech from somebody else.
Could be.
Right? He's been out there a while.
He's cracked the code. B squared. That's what you need. And then he'll move on to B4.
Oh, no. 4B? Oh, no. No.
Shown on PBS for 40 plus years. Yeah. Doctor Who we're talking about. See, I'm a big, as you know, I'm a big fan of what I call a classic Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
I've never even been particularly that into the new Who. It started off okay with Eccleston and Tennant, but I think over time it started to become increasingly silly, and of course then it became absolute garbage for other reasons. But I never really was that fond of it.
Disney having his hands on it now does not help.
No, it's worse than ever. But classic Who, it may have looked crap, but at least there were some great characters and stories. Not all the time. Some of it was just crap. But
well, my gosh, man, have you seen the original Star Trek episodes? Not all of them are great shows. Some of them are really silly.
Season 3.
I love too how like when he starts going on about like his mad plan and like all the thoughts, like that's the moment they chose to run away and try to escape.
That's right.
Right?
Like it wasn't obvious before.
I think it's To me, it's a rather sadistic way of building a robot to have a couple of rotating knives on the front of it to kill someone, as opposed to just a laser like all the others.
Right.
Let's give this one the rotating knives. Again, they didn't get many deaths like that in Disney stuff. It wasn't that there wasn't deaths. Hell, look at Bambi's mother,
Yeah.
I'm still scarred to this day because of that one. But the Disney films, did they have a lot of deaths? I can't recall.
Well, they did, but they handled it different.
The rotating knives.
I mean, I thought you said it didn't have a lot of deaths.
So spaghettification was a later thing. Yeah, nobody was thinking about that then.
I mean, Bambi's mom died in that movie. But,
I was scarred for life when I saw that as a kid. Honestly, I saw that in the cinema as a small child. It was like, this is terrible. It
was traumatizing. I couldn't hunt for weeks.
Exactly, I couldn't hunt for weeks. Yeah. They should have made a follow-up where the deer armed themselves and shot.
Right, and they go hunting for humans.
Well, there's a science fiction movie for you. Call it Deer Hunt. Deer hunting the humans. Genetically modified deer hunting humans.
Bambo.
That's it. You've just won the internet for the day. Bambo. Right, get onto AI and get that script written.
Oh,
Bambo. The humans. Bambo. Old Yeller was another sad one. Yes. Old Yeller didn't yeller much more in the end. Poor old Yeller. R.I.P. Bambi's mom.
Yeah.
So Ernest Borgnine was up for Don Vito Corleone. Interesting. I can see that. Obviously, he wouldn't have had the mannerisms that Brando gave us, but I could see him playing the part and playing it his way.
Plus, he had the advantage over Brando that he might actually be sober for some of the shoots.
So I could remember his lines. The Emu Liberation Front. Well, I've got the organization Haggis, which is Highlanders Against Gross Groping in Sheep or something. I can't remember. Highlanders Against Grievous Grooming in Sheep. That's it. Haggis. That could be the sequel.
Now, remind me why she had a tinfoil hat on there.
I don't know, but it looks good and it works.
Well, I mean, it did protect her from the evil mind control lasers, so
There you go.
It did. Yeah. It worked for Joaquin Phoenix in Signs. Was it Signs? Yep. Yeah. Like a wee bit haggis. Yeah, so we'll have Bambo followed by haggis.
Bambo with a side of haggis?
Yes, the revenge haggis. Bambo the revenge. Bambo 2.
You would have to make that a canon film. Like, there's no option.
Bambo.
Yes. We may have the technology to make that with our editing software and AI stuff. Let's make canon.
I'm working on it, man.
Canon
I've got I have a
presents
bunch of stuff I use for thumbnails.
Bambo, starring Chuck Norris.
Starring Chuck Norris. No, I'll have to think of the cast of Bambo. Who's
going to do? Fly's got to be in there somewhere.
Who's going to do the voice of the leader of the deer? It's going to be voice. I don't know why, but I heard Jason Statham's voice in my head.
There you go.
I don't know why. I just did. We're going to get these fucking humans.
And maybe as the bad guy, you get Michael Dudikoff in there.
Harrison Ford could do it because he hates humanity anyway. So
this is true.
Tommy Lee Jones, and then. Obviously, the humans have to fight back, so Chuck could be the leader of the humans. I don't know. I'm thinking it'd be like a kind of it's not like a zombie movie, but there would have to be a lot of deer to be able to fight the humans. So, this is almost like the Night of the Lepus, though, I guess, with the killer rabbits. Yeah, anyway, this
the second stream in a row that involved killer animals.
That's right. They're trying to get off the ship, obviously, and then, like a true journalist, I mean, he's got a CNN badge probably. He steals the Palomino. Ernest Borgnine quit cowardly, like a cowardly journalist, turned his tail. Yes, brave Sir Robin ran away. He bravely turned his tail and fled. but thereby save. So this is where they fit in a lot of the action. Of course, they're trying to get off the ship, or Reinhardt doesn't either care or doesn't want them to. Perkins is dead. Harry's about to steal the Palomino. Thereby, as Robert Forster says, saving the rest of their lives, because Reinhardt's already said, blow it out of the sky and blow it out of space. There is no sky. Blow it out of space. So there's fit the action in here.
Yeah. Attack of the
Bambo.
Robots.
I still think Bambo. I think that's such a good idea, mate. Should patent that one. License that one straight away. Bambo.
I'm working on it.
I'm trying to think of the tagline. Like Rambo. He just wanted to be left alone, or
Bambo, first rut.
First rut.
Oh no, that's a different kind of movie.
Yeah, we're getting into other territory. Yeah.
Oh shit.
It pairs up a little too closely with Deer Hunter.
Deer
Right?
Hunter. Bambo could be the sequel to Deer Hunter.
It's the crossover we never asked for. Bambi versus the Deer Hunter.
Bambi versus the Deer Hunter. You know what? If you did that well, you'd make more money than most current Hollywood movies.
Probably.
First run. Bambo first heat. 10,000 point Ruminati. Yeah. Yeah. So they're now comes the real.
Oh man, yeah. This is some of the best special effects in the
things
show.
weren't bad enough. They're being attacked by the orange bubbles or meteorites who are rushing towards the black hole, glowing as they do. Perhaps they would be with the gravitational stresses on them. But yeah, I think I actually have a little bit of the video from this. I didn't manage to get a lot of video, but I got a couple of bits.
We'll have to try the main corridor.
Very fortunate for them that meteor just happened to go down that pinball type corridor. But I thought at the time that was spectacular. Looked really good. And this is where if they'd stuck, this is kind of like the disaster movie feel that they might have had in their original story. When things like this would be happening.
Yeah, I kind of feel like this had already been written and shot when they decided to pivot, and they just kind of worked it in.
Yeah, they went. We'll skip the disaster part and keep a bit of it, but the rest is going to be
a good scene. We'll just make this work.
Yeah, the rest is going to be mad scientists with killer robots. Yeah. Lovely. Hang on. What's this? Greatest. I'm waiting for this. Some good chats going on here.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know why they're red hot. All I could think of that it was gravitational stresses, possibly as well the fact that they're traveling really fast. But even then, the micro meteorites and dust they would hit wouldn't be enough to warm them up. Shades of Raiders of the Lost Ark with the meteor going down the corridor. Yeah, great shot though. I mean, it's probably the best shot of the. Yeah. Now that's just a conspiracy theory that steel beams don't melt from that. Probably don't want to go down that yet. But yeah, great shot of the film. Sodium vapor and glass prism, same as Mary Poppins. Yeah, Mary. And see, I want the psycho version of Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins, vampire killer.
Isn't that just?
Isn't
that just the movie It?
That's the movie It. Yeah, Outland. Sherry Bobbins. Right about here is where the atmospheric issues in the science fiction begin. Yes. Like ships getting destroyed, but people are still breathing. It did have a gravity containment field, so maybe it had an atmospheric containment field too. Although you think that the entirety of the atmosphere would have been incinerated by a molten meteor crashing into it.
I mean, I don't really think they put that much thought into why the meteors were glowing red. It's probably just they would show up in the black over the black backdrop.
Yeah, it did look good. Yeah, it's all about how it looked, and I'll accept it. Silent running time tunnel. Buck Rogers lost in space with 2001: Space Odyssey rolled into one. Yes, and a bit of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and Forbidden Planet. And I guess if none of the writers had written science fiction before, they probably went and watched a few movies first.
I'd have to stick these in a couple of different programs to put some lettering on it, make it look like a poster. But
so
I got some bambo going on here.
I think it may have been somebody. I'll just share that in a second, Joe.
Yeah, sure.
Somebody earlier in the chat, or somebody I saw online said, Maximilian Schell was the first to warn us about the dangers of flat screen TV.
Killed by his own control.
By his own screen TV. Right, sorry, Joe. I just
no, it's fine. That's fine.
That one was
the steampunk to me.
That is Bambo. Yes.
That's pretty good. And then you had this one here. This is for the Call of Duty crowd. You know?
And he even made it modern for modern audiences. It's got a strong female lead.
Right,
right on the poster.
Yeah.
That's probably the best one I got, though.
In the division. I have a question. How does that deer fire that weapon?
Right? How does that deer fire that weapon?
Deer don't have fingers. And how many magazines are in that thing?
Oh, shoot. Hang on. I'll put it back up.
Or is it stocks? It's got extra stocks or something? Weird.
It may be a pistol grip, but you'd think the pistol grip would be by the trigger housing, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what the silliness of AI art is, man. It's just crazy.
Hang on, let's look at that again.
Yeah.
Okay, what has that weapon got in it?
We got 1, 2, 3 magazines, it looks like. Maybe 4.
Yeah. Probably got some kind of optional poison gas canister.
Look, AI art, they don't know what they're putting in there. They just make it look like a machine gun and throw all kinds of shit on it.
You know what
is this scope going to do shooting through its neck?
Well, I just want to know, how's it going to fire that thing? Now, the first one was perfect.
The first one? Hang on. Yeah.
That one. That was perfect.
Good. That was perfect. Yep. Yep. I'll have to work on it. They actually had one. I didn't put it in here because I only put the ones that look like deer. But they had one that was a hot chick with antlers and deer ears.
Yeah. Just hear the trailer now. 20 years ago, they killed her mother.
I'll put those up on X for you guys.
This time it's very personal.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Be careful how you mount those 85-inch panels.
Right.
Especially if you're an old middle-aged German.
Could hurt you.
All I wanted to do was watch the hockey.
All I wanted to do was watch the game.
Hey, you know what I discovered? If you do AI images of hockey players, they've all got 3 legs.
Well, most of us do anyway. We just keep the third one hidden most of the time.
Oh man, unbelievable. Okay,
everything starts to go red now. Everything's red. Damn you, hentai. Yes. Yeah, Maximilian, you see, Reinhardt, I told you it wasn't hung straight. Right. He wouldn't listen to his robot. That was the problem. I'm the scientist around here. But yeah, I mean, oh yeah, and this is the final climactic death scene between Vincent and where Vincent inserts something inside Maximilian.
Oh my!
And vigorously rotates it. And that's the end of Supermax.
Yeah.
Well, not quite. He's not dead yet. But I kind of wondered at this point in the movie, first time I saw it, I thought, okay, well, where's this going to go? How's this going to end? Ship's breaking up. They look like they'll be able to get out. They're all getting dragged into this black hole where theoretically they'll be pulverized. And then it just came over all metaphysical.
Yeah.
Do like the destruction of the ship, though. It's pretty neat. Bob can't make it. And Vincent's too callous to pick him up and carry him. So, like, can't you just pick him up and carry him with you? Or why don't you just take take his programming,
Yeah.
stick a flash drive in him, take his download his data banks, and you can revive him in another body. The robot. Assuming they're not got semi-organic brains, of course. Yeah, so I think they did suffer from ending envy. They really didn't quite know what to do, so they went and watched 2001. And said,
Right.
Okay, and they dropped some acid, but clearly only Disney approved acid. And okay, we're going to get metaphysical now. You're the best, Bob. Now, yeah, we're done. Go away, Bob.
Go away, Bob.
Beat it. You can take me with you. No.
Nah.
Sorry, man.
You served your purpose.
That's right. You're done. Bob's your uncle.
Sorry, man. Chip's full. But there's an empty seat, right? Nope, it's full.
No. Sorry.
I got better.
You got arms. You can pick me up. I got better. Yeah. You're not fooling anybody, Bob.
You're not fooling anybody, Bob.
I feel happy. Zap.
we are overthinking things, Cronus. So it's but yeah, this stuff's pretty good though. The visuals are great. Lots of great camera work and optical compositions of different shots on top of each other. At this point, they should all be turning to Yvette Mew and saying, "Look, we've got time for one last quickie. It could be certain death coming." Or perhaps Joseph Bottoms should be turning to his captain to say that. I don't know. Brother of Timothy Bottoms, also an actor. Yeah. Who's also been in a few things that I can't remember. There's only room for one at the recharger, Bob. You know how
The Bottoms brothers?
He's one of the Bottoms brothers. If they ever teamed up with the Tops brothers, they'd be fine. There's only room for one at the recharger. You didn't bring your recharging cable, Bob. I'm sorry. Probe the black hole for you. So they get in the probe, and of course it is programmed to go into the black hole. So they ain't getting out. And then we have various metaphysical things. Time dilation. Somebody's dilating. And then Reinhardt, fresh from being crushed by his computer monitor, is floating about in the black hole. Clearly, there's an atmosphere in there, and this bit was wacky. He kind of merges with Maximilian in some Bob did say Maximilian did unspeakable things to him. So
wow.
So and then they're in Dante's Inferno. Where is that?
Yeah, it's got
that scene did not make any sense at all.
So if they all end up in hell, does that make this a prequel to Event Horizon?
Kind of.
Hello?
Kind of.
There's a thought.
Yeah, good point. But yeah, what is this supposed to be? Hell? Then, why would the black hole? Yeah, why would this be in the black hole? Or why not? We've never been in one. Well, unless we're living in one now. And then, of course, there's the light at the end of the tunnel, where they do a little bit of 2001 here. This is where Zardos should have appeared.
Yeah.
I fooled you all, suckers. You're mine.
What I was thinking that when I was rewatching this for the show, I was like, wait, when did we get into the Wizard of Oz here? This is, I don't know.
They should have heard this. Suckers.
Right.
Yeah, same imagery as the Night on Bald Mountain and Ave Maria from Fantasia. So Disney team. So maybe they all died. Some went to heaven, some went to hell. Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly. That's it's not spelled out. They come out and this is so 2001 though. Right there.
Oh yeah, that's just straight up ripped off.
Straight up 2000. All they need is a floating baby.
Right?
Or a floating bambo. That would be the best. So there you go. They're now in.
Man, there's a beverage here.
That's right. They're now through the black hole into somewhere. There's that Peter Ellenshaw and the other guy, I think it was his brother, was another Ellenshaw, did all the production design, special effects, all that good stuff.
Here's the hot bamboo I didn't show you guys earlier.
All right. So I'm suddenly into venison.
Look, dude, I saw that and I thought about the French guy in Wonder Woman. I'm both frightened and aroused.
That's right. But the ending is they couldn't get the license for the Star Child, as Davina said. Couldn't get the Star Child license. That's all it was missing from 2001. They went metaphysical. I was disappointed at the time. Still not impressed by the ending. I don't mind.
The ending sucked. That's the worst thing about the movie.
Yeah, I don't mind the visuals, but I don't. If they were trying to be deep, it didn't work.
Not quite.
I think it would have been worked if they'd not bothered with the Maximilian and the hell stuff. If they'd gone through the black hole, come out at this place, and found a star system with a habitable planet around it. So it was a wormhole and they went somewhere. Then, if the film had been successful, they could have had a sequel of what did they find there.
Although that being said, there is only one woman, so she's going to be really busy.
That's right. Well, they may have found accommodating aliens, humanoids. Maybe they could have used the old Planet of the Apes thing and gone back to Earth and found it ruined.
True.
You know, I'm disappointed in a big black hole. Well, am I though? So am I? Really?
Look, the rest of the movie and the special effects and the music and everything, that all makes it work. Yes, the end of it was just,
Yeah, I could live without the ending. It's looked great. And there was I keep having to remind myself, it's PG.
Yeah.
And it was Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And leaving aside many of the other issues with it, the visual effects and the soundtrack are superb.
Mm-hmm.
I give them points for trying, and there's some interesting little bits of conversation and things that happen.
Yeah.
If it had been not Disney and it was more like, as was mentioned, Event Horizon, kind of, with Reinhardt being a real psycho and because they were close to the black hole, all sorts of weird shit was happening. And then they did go in it and weird shit happened. That might have worked, but they didn't stick the landing. Landings are tough.
Yeah.
Endings are tough.
And, the silver lining in it, they made a lot of mistakes with this movie, but a lot of the lessons learned went on to be the basis for Tron.
And Tron was like 2 years later, maybe?
3 years, I think.
3 years
82,
later.
I think.
82.
Yeah. And I think, obviously, Disney, and I don't know about the production team on Tron, but I think they probably learned a lot. Disney,
at least Disney learned a lot about how to package and sell a sci-fi movie a lot better than this one was.
Yeah, and it had more personality in it, I think, from the point of view of the characters. These guys were good, but they played it very straight most of the time.
Yeah.
Whereas, Jeff Bridges and Tron and some of the others, David Warner's a great villain, and Jeff Bridges has got a lot of charm. So there was a lot of great personality. Ironically, given they were inside a computerized world,
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of human personality in it. This was a little bit cold in that respect.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting that Disney had two movies right in a row like that with Black Hole and Tron that didn't do well at the box office at the time, and yet went on to become beloved movies and classics later on.
Yeah, I mean, I would give don't really score things, but I mean, I would certainly give Black Hole, a good 6.57 just because of the visual effects and the score alone. It doesn't quite reach the heights of all-time greatness, but I don't think it's a failure by any means.
No.
And excuse me, and Tron, of course, is magnificent. If they learned from making the Black Hole and used some of that in Tron, well, Tron was great.
Yeah.
Still holds up to this day. Fantastic. So.
Oh yeah. And the sequel got a lot of stick, but I really enjoyed the movie.
See, I still haven't seen it.
It's not bad. It's not as good as the original one from '82, but it's still a pretty good movie.
Yeah.
I still didn't quite get in the Tron Legacy the whole what happened to Tron thing. It was
they never really fully explained that.
Like all of a sudden he's kind of an automated bad guy kind of thing.
Well, that's one that was in the era of Hollywood movies where it's like, oh, you don't know why that happened in the movie? Go watch it, read, or play this other media, and you can find out.
Right.
Oh,
I believe that's what happened with that. I think it was in something else.
Yeah.
great.
And that's where the explanation was instead of in the movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, Davina saying I'm doubtful.
If you have to do that to explain your movie, you haven't done a good job.
No,
Davina's doubtful about the next Tron movie. I have to say I'm doubtful about every movie now.
They're making another Tron movie?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
doubtful about every movie now.
But see, here's the thing. I am cautiously optimistic. I'm glass half full. A lot of people are glass half empty. I'm glass half full. Like, for instance, we were talking earlier tonight. They're doing a Mass Effect show for on Prime. Okay,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of people that love that video game, right? And me
Will
and
bang, okay.
yeah, me and Knock, we're like, hope they do it right, and
Look,
everybody else
as
is like,
long as Diana Allers has her boobs in it, and as long as Miranda's got her butt, I'm fine.
right. Come on,
As long as I can shag Diana Allers and then throw her off the ship afterwards, we're great.
there you go.
This man has his priorities straight.
That's right.
But you know what? It won't be male Commander Shepard. It probably won't even be Commander Shepard. It'll be
It'll probably be some other crew that takes place in the Mass Effect universe and yada yada.
Yeah,
I would tend to think that they're going to tell a parallel story or something during the same,
maybe
lore
maybe.
atmosphere. If they make it Shepard, then they're really going to constrain themselves.
I have no confidence in the people in charge of Mass Effect in any media right now. So not confident in the slightest.
Gotcha.
You've seen the people that BioWare have got.
Oh my God. Yeah. This Dragon Age game is getting a bunch of just wow.
Get it.
Yeah,
Disney, this is a good point. Disney seems to have a skill with making movies that don't do good in theaters but become cult classics, like John Carter and Prince of Persia. I agree. I love both of those movies.
Both of them are good. Yes.
John Carter is great. I liked it at the time.
Yeah, I did too.
And
I went to the theater to see it. I knew what it was, but the regular Joe Blow public doesn't know John Carter of Mars. They don't know that story, those of us that know the old science fiction stuff, we know what that is.
Well, as one show says, if you take them off Mars part off, 90% of the potential viewing public won't have a clue what it's about.
Yeah.
It's just a guy's name.
They totally screwed up the ad campaign for that. Yeah.
Anything. Yeah.
Completely.
I feel bad for Taylor Kitsch because I've always liked
So do I.
actor. Yeah,
yes. I've always liked him. He was the best thing about Wolverine Origins, playing Gambit.
Yeah,
in that movie.
his Gambit was great. Yeah. Absolutely. I agree entirely. He was great in the Friday Night Lights TV show.
He's good in what was the one he did for
the Terminal
Prime
List?
With,
Terminal List.
The Terminal List. Yeah, he was good in that too. It's a shame he had to get whacked, but
they're making it. But the prequel will be out soon, and it's him and Chris.
That'll be good.
Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
There's too many Chris's. Chris Pratt.
There are too many Chris's.
So
Chris
they made a prequel, and they're both in it. So
yeah,
and
that's
good. That's when they were still friends and allies. Right. So they'll be kicking ass.
Mm-hmm.
So, So John Carter, I think, is actually a very underrated
Definitely.
movie. I love it. I got it
Definitely.
here somewhere. Oh yeah, there it is. John Carter. So I agree. Some of the wardrobe
I have that.
choices,
Yep. Mm-hmm. All my movies are in the living room. They're not here in the studio. Yeah.
I got another bunch of dirt cheap media
But Prince
today.
of Persia's a good movie too.
Yeah, it is.
Jake Gyllenhaal's great in that flick.
I'll have to save these for either a video or an impromptu live stream. But today, not content with getting a ton of stuff at thrift stores the other day, I got another pile today.
Yeah, I saw you. Didn't you go on air Monday showing some
Yeah, I
stuff?
thought screw it, I'll just
Yeah.
jump on. Normally I do videos for those, but I'll just.
I was
go
in the
live
middle of
here.
getting ready for me and my brother's
So,
show. So,
I got some interesting stuff today.
Oh, did you know?
Some graphic novels. Got a copy of Moon on Blu-ray, the David Jones thing with Sam Rockwell. I love that movie. Anyway, that was The Black Hole. On the whole, I think it's a movie worth talking about and deserves a bit more love from Disney, but then just about everything deserves a bit more love from Disney.
A lot of stuff Disney put out in that like 76 to 83 period they kind of forget about these days.
Oh man, even before that, look, when Disney Plus came out, I said, you know what? I'm going to get this because I hope they put the old library of films and stuff from the 60s in there, because my favorite Disney property, I had to buy a burnt DVD of The Scarecrow of Romney Marsh. I love that fucking story. And I don't know why they don't put their classic vault type stuff on the streaming service. They'd have tons of people buying that shit. But no, they don't have it on there.
Disney's run by children now. Spoiled children as well.
It's dumb.
So.
It's completely
sorry to say. Now, the only Disney, Disney Plus, it's got a lot of crap in it. Ironically, as I've said many times, their Korean shows that they make are brilliant.
Really?
Their Korean television shows on Disney Plus are all great. The Western shit is shit. So that's the weirdest thing. Like,
oh yeah, they're not making it; they're just licensing it.
Yeah.
One or two of them they're more directly involved than others, but some of it they're licensing. But the stuff they've got on the Disney Plus in Korea, fantastic. Not a bad show yet. So, and they're making proper shows. They're not making the crap they make here. So, like shows you can actually get into with a good story and not too messagey, you know. So that's the only Disney I really care about. Not that I have Disney Plus, of course. I just have to figure out how to watch these things somehow.
I have it so that my grandchildren can watch it. But luckily, they're about to be teenagers, and I'm about to dump that shit.
So R.I.P. Disney, Squid Games Disney Edition, Well, I don't want to.
As long as it's the higher ups at Disney in the Squid Games, I would.
That's right. Yeah, I want them participating, not the oligarchs in the room watching.
Hey, Bob, come see me real quick.
Bob, put this green.
I got a game for you to play. Come here.
Put this green jumpsuit on, number 69, and get in this game. Well, this Squid Game 2, December 26th. It will be out. I don't know if they're doing it episodically on Netflix or dropping it all at once. I kind of hope episodically because I am going to be making videos about it.
Now, the last time they did it episodically, didn't they?
Probably, yeah. Because I didn't watch it until it was all done.
I still haven't seen it. So, I'm gonna have to watch it though because I now cover pop culture.
It has its naysayers, but it is. The first season was phenomenal. I'd not seen anything like it before. I love that shit. The games, the twisted games that the life. If you die, you die. Kind of thing.
Sounds like Saw to me.
Yeah, it had a visual style all of its own and as well. But yes, it's kind of like that in a sense. But the other one that, of course, we all loved that was a Japanese one, Alice in Borderland. That show is phenomenal as well. Similar in some ways, but very different visually and stylistically. But both about games that are lethal, and people, you've got no choice but to do them to survive. So, but it was. Anyway, I did like Squid Game, and it wasn't. I watched other Korean shows and I avoided it because I thought it was just hype. Then I watched it and said, no, that wasn't hype. That was good. And it actually had people in it that now I know were major Korean actors. So the reveals didn't mean anything to me when I was watching it first. I don't know.
Yeah, what wasn't one of them in the Acolyte?
Well, yeah, the lead in Squid Game is Lee Young-ye, who was in the Acolyte. Hopefully, he's fired his agent,
right,
and will never do another English language show again because he does great Korean stuff. Always has. That was an abomination. He never needs to do that again.
Yeah,
please,
absolutely.
Don't ever do that again, ever.
Absolutely.
But also had Lee Byung-hun, who was is a top Korean guy who was the frontman character. Lee Byung-hun was in one of the G.I. Joe movies. He was the sword wielding
Snake Eyes.
Yeah, way back in that G.I. Joe era. So he was that guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's done a couple of other English things, but he's been in some phenomenal Korean stuff. These are major stars in Korea, so it had some star power. But I just loved the whole concept and the execution. Will they fuck it up in season 2? Who knows? But I'll be there. Storm Shadow, that's it. He played Storm Shadow, Lee Byung-hun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was probably one of the best things.
Heretic.
I don't know if I've seen Heretic.
That just came out.
Yeah,
with, Hugh Grant.
I have not seen it yet. No. I did watch season 3 of The Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix, which is one of the few English language shows I've watched this year. And it was okay.
The only thing new I'm watching right now is, of course, Yellowstone premiered the other night, and we're big fans, me and Foxy, and looking forward to watching the rest of that. It's the second half of the 5th season, and
I kind of stopped watching it after about the 3rd season because I felt it was getting a little into soap opera territory.
Yeah, well,
a little bit,
drama, no doubt.
Yeah. And she never got fully naked, the daughter. What's her name?
Okay.
Kevin Costner's daughter.
Watching it on CBS or something.
She never got fully naked.
She gets naked occasionally on that.
Anyway, but Lincoln Lawyer show, the TV show on Netflix, is pretty good.
A buddy of mine was telling me speaking of Netflix, the Gundam series that just hit Netflix. He goes, "It's not good, it's not bad, but man, does it have a horror movie vibe?"
Oh,
really? Gundam?
It's all yeah, because when the Gundam shows up, it just fucks things up. So all the Xeon pilots are constantly, when the Gundam's not on the screen, everybody's looking over their shoulder to make sure it's not standing behind them, kind of deal.
So that means we should watch it.
Yeah.
I've heard he said it wasn't good, it wasn't bad, it was okay.
Yeah.
So, but he took that away from it because he's seen a bunch of the other stuff. He's like, well, that was new and different how they did that. I'm like, it's not really. They just amped it up a bit more. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, the Lincoln Lawyer movie was okay, but Matthew McConaughey was playing the guy it was meant to be. I mean, the character is half Hispanic. I'm not sure McConaughey pulled that off. Mickey Haller is half Hispanic. So the guy they've got playing him now is a Mexican guy, and he's superb in the role. He is meant to be half Mexican, and he's Mickey Haller. If you've ever read Michael Connelly books, they're all courtroom stuff and whatever, but it's pretty good. It's for a modern show on Netflix. Yes, it's got their boxes ticked in terms of casting, but that doesn't feature really as part of the stories. That's not part of. There's no message being thrown at you, and there are good people and bad people of all shapes and sizes in it. So it's not bad. It's okay. I don't watch much English stuff. So anyway, it's time to get rapidly up. I'd like to thank that's all, folks. I'm sorry, I'm Viking Nav over in Rumble. I didn't realize you were asking a couple of questions, but I can't remember what the answers were now. But thank you for being over there on the Rumble side. If Talk Studio could ever get the Rumble chat incorporated into the whole thing, that would be awesome. Thank you, Talk Studio.
I was watching it. He was asking about the girl in the movie.
Oh yeah, Vietnamese.
She was, what her name was. We covered it. I think he stepped in afterwards.
Get the bikini pictures.
Yeah, there you go.
Disappointed. Yeah, thanks everybody that's been in the chat. Thank you, Davina, for modding, and anyone else who may have been modding. Unfortunately, our new timer, our great friend D-Bud Martin, finds it harder to make it, but I'm glad that Imp could join us tonight. That's
Yeah, there was some fuckery at work, so I was able to make it.
good. No, good to see you, mate, and hopefully we'll be able to see you again for more stuff. But everyone in the chat, thank you. Davina, Emperor's One Man Show, Superior Nav, Soul Assassin, Darth-Scipio. If I miss people, please forgive me. Emperor's NM, Dalu, Skip to Dalu, KK Charlie Chats. Good to see you. Kronos was here. I know I'm going to miss people, and forgive me if I do, but you've all been wonderful. Lots of great chats. Thank you very much for supporting us. Hope you all clicked the like button and all that good YouTube stuff that keeps us getting some kind of viewership. So, panel-wise, thank you guys for being here and for all your continued support of this show. Pope, what you got going on, buddy?
Well, I'd just like to remind everyone, if you don't hit the like button, we'll send the knife Roombas after you, and you don't want that. So,
We'll send Bambo.
That's true.
Bambo and Maximilian with the spinning, rotating blades will come get you.
Rotating-
Yeah.
Some kind of rotating knives.
As for me, you can catch me every Saturday night at 11 Eastern over on my channel on Rumble, where we do Midnight Mass, a little 2-hour radio show where I play you a lot of the stuff that I'm listening to, a lot of stuff that, I think is underappreciated and needs some attention. And then I get requests from the chat sometimes. So, sometimes even I haven't heard what goes in the playlist. So hopefully you'll join me for that. And I think this Sunday we are doing another stream over on Vinyl Revival's channel talking about great blues songs that have been covered by rock artists later on. So that should be up on the list.
Nice.
So
we swing by that one.
Yeah, so you guys will have to join us for that. Other than that, you can catch me here every Wednesday.
And good to see you here, mate. Absolutely. We will check out Pope's show after Bourbon and Boarding on Saturday nights so that he's suitably weak crying when Boston lose yet again.
Hey.
Don't get me started.
They're playing Dallas tomorrow again, I think.
Yeah,
so.
you kicked our ass last time.
We did. I can't see that happening too many times in a row, but you never know. But and it is in Dallas, so we
gotta let the Bruins get some wins because my brother's LSU Tigers are just shit in the bed, and so are the Saints, and it's just killing him. He's already switched over to hockey completely now.
Yeah.
So
It could be worse, Joe. He could be a Giants fan right now.
right? Yes, you're right. It
He'd
could
be a
worse.
giant
I
ass then.
understand. I understand.
There's one more pick for Viking Nav of Yvette Mimio. I just don't know what anyone sees in her. But
You don't.
now, Mark, our friend Mark D with the C is here, and I was telling them, Mark, that you mentioned this Electra Woman and Dinah Girl last night, and I had it lined up to talk about today. So I'm now going to go and not watch that show again.
You're so full of shit.
I don't have the time.
It's too
to
hot
waste.
chicks. Come on, man.
Are they really? Are they really though? I don't know.
For that day and age, yeah.
I don't think I'm going to go that far. So thanks, Pope. Imp, anything you got going on you want to talk about?
I will be on Ascendant Arts podcast Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
Other than that, until next Tuesday when I'll be gaming with Brahma again, you might catch me on Ascendant Arcade with Slender Dad getting into some sort of shenanigans.
Okay, cool. No, good to see you, buddy. And one of our future shows suggested by Imp that I've started picking away at to work on is the Sinbad movies. So
Ooh, nice.
we're going to get into some Ray Harryhausen stop motion action, I think. Yeah, so that'll be coming up sometime in the next few weeks. Hopefully when Imp is I'll only do it if Imp's available to join them. So
that's it.
Joe, my friend, my dear friend, what you got going on?
Oh man, the schedule's up on the page. You guys go by and give me subscribe. I'm only 13 away from being able to get super chats. So
13 more to 500, everybody.
But
check out Joe.
you know what the schedule is usually. Next time you'll see me, I'll be on doing my comic book on Friday afternoon at 1 p.m. And as far as the one thing that changes every week is the video game show on Tuesday night at 10. When you're done with Toxic Tuesday and Brian and 32 Flares of Nick Weiser and all them fools on that show, come over and watch me mess up some Brutal Legend. I'm trying to finish Brutal Legend. Back when Jack Black was not completely insane. It's a really cool video game. If you guys have never seen it, I've run into so far in the game. I've run into Ozzy. He does all the work on your gear. Lemmy from Motorhead is your healer, and Rob Halford is another one of your warriors that has a pretty nice bike that drives around and shit. So.
Lemmy would heal the world if he could.
Yeah, right. He would. He would absolutely.
Nice.
But anyway, yeah, come check it out, guys. I'm having a good time over there, and I'm really glad to be here always because you've got one of the best shows on YouTube,
thanks,
buddy. And I like the fact that I can send everybody to go see you afterwards now.
No, I appreciate it, mate. And thank you for saying that. We do our best, all of us, you guys, we do our best every week we talk about what we love and we have some fun. And I think that's well worthwhile. And thank you everyone in the chats for joining us to do that as well. And that supports this channel. I'm trying to get to 2K at some point, subscriber wise. So we're creeping up there every week, a few more. I think we're about 1820 right now. So, and Rumble 260. So, so somebody's enjoying something.
You know it, man.
I don't know what, but anyway, as for me, hopefully I'll get a couple of videos done. I got a couple of Korean things I'm going to talk about, and I've got a couple of music related videos I'm trying to get done. The live shows take up so much stuff. Tomorrow night, I will be on Comics Division Thursday Night Throwdown as usual. Friday, Ascendant Art with Imp and the gang. Saturday night, a little bit of Cotton Council and Snowdub. And then Bourbon and Boarding with Brahma, our hockey show. Lots to talk about there. Sunday, Culture After Dark. Sunday night on Culture Casino.
Me, the hardest working man on YouTube.
Jeez.
Come on, bro.
I don't have a night off now unless I take one off. Monday, back to Comics Division. Monday night, Meltdown. And Tuesday, Toxic Tuesday on Nick's channel. We have a hell of a lot of fun. Last night was Octopussy. Next week, we're doing the final Roger Moore Bond, A View to a Kill.
View to a Kill.
With the great music, the great theme song.
Yes.
You know, and Christopher Walken. He's so well balanced in this movie.
Grace Jones, too, right?
Grace Jones, yeah. So that's the week planned out already. But I hope you all have a wonderful week. Take care, stay well, and keep on rocking. We'll see you next time. Good night, everybody. Stay well.